Hello students, this is your chapter number 3, Nationalism in India. So open your textbook on page number 13. Nationalism in India. Now nationalism means Desh Bhakti. Nationalism means a feeling of pride and belongingness towards one's nation. It is also a willingness to sacrifice everything one has for the nation if the need arises. So, nationalism meaning means अपने देश के प्रति गर्व की फीलिंग होना, ये हमारा देश है ऐसे फीलिंग होना, that we call it as nationalism. And it is also a willingness to sacrifice, that is if necessary we should sacrifice न्यौछावर कर देना everything, that is even our life, for our nation. The factors responsible for the rise of nationalism in India developed notably after the revolt of 1857. So after the revolt of 1857, which was joined by Rani Lakshmibai and others, the feeling of nationalism developed in our country. So देशभक्ति की भावना जाग उठी हमारे लोगों में. The modern concept of nationalism originated in Europe. Various factors such as Renaissance, Reformations, the American and the French Revolution, unification of Italy and Germany, etc., played an important role in propagation of nationalism in Europe. So, this concept of Europe originated in concept of nationalism originated in Europe, and there were other factors like Renaissance, Reformation, which we studied in the first chapter, played an important role in nationalism. In Europe, the nationalism was propagated, कैसे प्रचार किया गया, due to the American and French Revolution, and Italy and Germany, they united. Unification means they united. The British rule in India helped the Indians to gather knowledge of the things happening around the world and change their political, social, religious and economic views. So if the Britishers would not have been ruling in India, then we would have not known what progress means. प्रगति करना किसे कहते हैं वो हमको मालूम नहीं पड़ता. We have developed railways, post, telegraph, industries due to the economic and political views that has changed the social and religious evils also. And social and religious evils were like Doodh Piti, Sati Pratha, etc. Various factors fostering the modern nationalism arose in India. The educated and the intellectuals felt the need of self-rule in our country, and this thought gradually spread far and wide in the nation. Now at that time, the great and intellectual people like Vivekanand, Gandhiji, Bhagat Singh, they understood that now our country needs freedom, azadi chahiye humko, and also our country have to be united. And this thought spread far and wide, and it was followed by national unity. सबको एकजुट होना पड़ेगा, सबको यूनाइटेड होना पड़ेगा to achieve freedom. It was followed by the feeling of national unity, and we shall study various factors that led to the rise of nationalism in India. So now we will study the different factors which were responsible or which were necessary for the nationalism in India. So the first factor is political reasons. Before the British rule, our country lacked political unity. India was divided into big and small princely states. The Britishers defeated many kings and established direct or indirect rule all over the India. So before the arrival of Britishers in our country, Britishers के पहले, we were fighting with one another on the matter that this is my region, this is my kingdom, ये मेरा राज्य है, ये वहाँ का राजा है, ये मेरा प्रदेश है. And like this, there was no unity among the Indians. And due to this, India was divided into big and small princely state. छोटे बड़े रजवाड़ों में बटा हुआ था. So when the Britishers has not come to India, we were fighting among each other. The Britishers, they defeated many kings and established their rule directly or indirectly all over India. So the Britishers saw that there was no unity among the Indians. They took advantage of this. They defeated many kings and they established their rule all over India. Under the dominance of the Britishers, a uniform administrative system was implemented. However, the overall experience of the British rule was not conducive. Besides, there were many other reasons that led to protest against the British rule. Gradually, this protest became more prominent and widespread. So, under the dominance means power, influence, prabhav. The Britishers, they implemented a uniform administrative system. एक समान तरीके का कामकाज, यूनिफॉर्म, एक सरखो, for their working on, and that was not good. But this uniform pattern, which was implemented by the Britisher for administration, was not good. They were harassing us and suppressing us, दबा रहे थे, परेशान कर रहे थे. And besides this, there were many other reasons due to which we had to protest. Protest यानी विरोध करना, आंदोलन करना against the British rule. So slowly this protest became more important. Prominent means more important, and spread widely all over the country. Then the second, that is economic reasons. Economic means monetarily, paisa. So the Britishers, they took away all the wealth from our country. India was known as Sone ki Chidiya, and they took away all the wealth from our country. India was financially ruined due to the economic policies of the Britishers. The Britishers took the raw materials from India to England, and then the finished or manufactured goods were sold in the Indian market. So the Britishers, they took away all the money, and like this they ruined financially. पैसे की बाबत में हमको पूरा बर्बाद कर दिया. They took away all the raw materials from India to their country, and then the finished goods was sold in the Indian market, and that also at double price. So the raw materials they took from our country, they made the finished product in their country, and that finished product they sold in the Indian market, and that also with double price. The duty of the manufactured goods imported in India from England was negligible, whereas heavy taxes were levied on the commodities manufactured in India. As a result, the Indian goods became more expensive than the imported goods. Then what they did, that the Britishers, they brought the finished product for selling in the Indian market, and the Britishers, they levied more tax on the good which was manufactured in our country, and the goods which were made in their own country were sold without levying any tax. So like this, the Britishers, they earn more money, and the artisans, the laborers who were in our country, they were ruined. As a cut result, in this cutthroat competition, the handicraft and the cottage industries of India could not sustain itself. So the Indian goods became more expensive. because more duty was charged on the Indian goods. So Indian goods became expensive, बहुत महंगे हो गए than the imported goods. And there was a cutthroat competition, गड़ा काट स्पर्धा. So the handicraft and cottage industries of India could not sustain itself. तो handicraft means जो मूर्तियाँ बनाते हैं, वो दिए बनाते हैं, कपड़े बनाते हैं. एंड कॉटेज इंडस्ट्रीज मीन स्मॉल इंडस्ट्रीज. सो दीज पीपल दे कुड नॉट सस्टेन itself. They were closed and many artisans became unemployed. So ये सब जो कारीगर थे वो लोग बेकार हो गए, unemployed. Soon the Indians realized that it was the British policy to prosper England at the cost of Indian economy, and this fostered the feeling of nationalism in the people of India. And then the Indians, they realized, उनको पता चल गया that this was the policy of the Britishers to become rich at the cost of Indian economy. हमारे पैसे से खुद को अमीर बनाने का ये उनकी चाल थी ब्रिटिशर्स की. एंड दिस फॉस्टर्ड मीन्स उसके अंदर जगह दिया द फीलिंग ऑफ नेशनलिज्म, देशभक्ति के लिए उन लोगों में जगा दिया, फीलिंग्स जागरूक हो गई इन द पीपल ऑफ इंडिया. देन द थर्ड इज ट्रांसपोर्ट एंड टेलीकम्युनिकेशन. द रेलवे, telegraph, post, land and waterways, etc. were developed in India by the British for the military, economic and political reason. So the Britishers, when they established the rule in India, they introduced railway, telegraph, post, land and waterways in India for their purpose, for their welfare, for their मिलिट्री, इकोनॉमिक एंड पॉलिटिकल रीज़न. उन लोगों को फ़ायदा हो इसलिए उन्होंने ये सब इंट्रोड्यूस किया. बट इट वॉज अ ब्लेसिंग और अ बून फॉर द इंडियंस. सो इट टर्न्ड आउट टू बी अ बून इन डिस्गाइज फॉर द इंडियन. बट ये सब हमारे लिए आशीर्वाद बन गया. People came closer to one another due to the development of these facilities. So the people, they developed ourselves, and so the Britishers developed this, and due to this the people, they came closer as they could go from one place to another, meet one another. They can write letter through post and telegraph, and like this the people came close to one another. Mobility of the intellectuals, artists and business class increased, and they started exchanging thoughts and opinions. Mobility means एक जगह से दूसरी जगह जाना. Intellectual means समझदार पढ़े लिखे लोग. So these intellectuals, artists and businessmen, they came closer and they went from one place to another due to the facilities given by the Britishers. And like this, they started exchanging their thoughts and opinions. That is, ये लोग एक जगह से दूसरी जगह जाने लगे. इसके कारण उनके विचार जो थे वो एक दूसरे से डिस्कस कर सके. ट्रेन और पोस्ट की वजह से वो एक दूसरे को संदेशा भेज सकते थे, एक दूसरे के साथ जा सकते थे. Discrimination of caste. Now turn your page number 14. Discrimination of caste, community and region became lesser due to increased communication and mass transportation. Now due to this discrimination, भेदभाव जो था वो कम होने लगा, as any people can travel by train. So there was no discrimination of caste, जातिवाद नहीं था. And there was increase in communication and mass transportation. The natural leaders could communicate their thoughts and plans to large number of people. And जो leaders थे, they could give speech on the radio, they could write letter, and like this the people came to know what was going on in the country. So leadership was built at national level instead of regional level, and this gave a notable contribution in the achievement of Swaraj. And as people came to know that what was going on the country and how important it was to achieve freedom, and like this the spirit of nationalism arose in the people. So देशभक्ति की भावना जागृत हुई. So students, the rest of the chapter will continue in the next video.